We descend the darkened steps.
Hey, you want to do the intro? Do the intro.
I'm not doing the intro. I just like a little thing at the front sometimes.
That's the intro.
But then we have the intro after that.
You passed your convention test. It's
The No Class Podcast.
with your host, Eddie, and Interrupting Cow. Moo.
Be good, be good. All right.
With your host, Eddie.
And Matt.
Hey, Matt. How's it going?
Fantastic. How are you, Eddie?
Good. We had to record that twice because I think I just shouted right into the microphone.
Yeah, looked like you were trying
My
to...
mighty shout.
You're trying to, love on the microphone a bit too much. But anyway, you should love your microphone, but don't love your microphone. So what just happened?
I shouted into the microphone.
But before that...
we sat down at the table to record this fine podcast. But even before that, we went to NTRPG for the weekend.
North Texas Role-Playing Game Convention in lovely Dallas, Texas.
And it's always a lovely time.
Always. Seriously, I look forward to that all year long. I think my wife gets kind of angry that that's like the highlight of my year, but it really is.
And this might be our most anticipated and listened to podcast of the year.
That's
People love
crazy.
the roundup, the breakdown,
The breakdown. I
the
like
report.
it. The report. Yeah, they do. And a con that's so worthy of a report.
They should definitely be put on report.
They should be. So, what do we lead with, amigo?
I believe you said you were going to begin thanking people by name, and anyone that's left out was unimportant to you and had not helped us in any way.
Well, unfortunately, I would love to mention so many people, but we would be here for an hour and a half, and y'all would be asleep in about 5. But I'll just lead out with, there were so many people, and that's why we love the con. We look forward to seeing these people. That's really one of the prime reasons we do our own con, was in the hope that we would get to see these people
Twice a year.
Twice a year instead of just once. We always love seeing our good friend, Gary Oliver. Doug was missed. Love interacting with Doug. Good to see Mike, but poor Mike had some sort of a gut issue or something. But anyway, and Brian, Brian's an integral part of the team, and it was good to see old Jiggly Bits. But anyway, aside from, the crew that's been bringing this amazing con to us for years, there's, old friends that we've known for years and new friends. And just starting out, it was great to see Chris Clark. I grabbed my copy of Inner City. You got yours too, didn't you?
I certainly did, and I even got someone to put it in the tube for me.
That was nice.
So,
and got our stuff signed by the author, so that's always cool.
what did he sign yours? What was your personalized inscription?
To my bestest and longest friend, Matt G. Love your good buddy, Chris.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mine says to your real true best friend with love. But hey.
There you go. And I mean, I didn't have to pay Chris much to do that. But I can't wait to kick the tires. And I skimmed it. And as usual, it's got some real chuckles in it. Chris is just a cut up. And there's some little subtle zingers in there. And not so subtle, but he's a cut up. And it comes across in his games. It's good. But it's definitely, he doesn't take himself too seriously.
Yeah, he's a fun guy to hang out with.
Absolutely. It's funny. We gamed with him years ago, and we talk about that game to this day. It was one of the really great games out of all the amazing games we played at NTRPG. But having got to meet him at our con, really hang out with him for once, really at our con in November, we really got to realize just how much of a really great, fun guy he is. Anyway, it was great to play and chat with Bill Barsh. I've got it. We have his BX Player's Guide now, and I like what I see.
Pace Setter Games.
Thank you. And I would love to try the Necromancer class. I'm excited for his Gamma X Kickstarter that's coming. I mentioned that at the game table, and everyone at the table just erupted in excited chatter about what you're doing a Gamma Retro clone. I'm just finding out about Swordfish Islands as a gaming company or publisher, and keep an eye on those folks. They have some neat products. I got the Creature Compendium from New Big Dragon, our buddy Richard LeBlanc, and it's. I was skimming that. I haven't had a chance. I just got back from the con, but it looks good. Which his stuff is awesome, man. It was good to see Levi Combs and Grab His Grindhouse, NTRPG exclusive Phylactery 2. Eton Games, David Donahue was there with his usual excellent selection of goods. I grabbed some Black Hack goodies. And we got to hang out and game with Matt Couch, Ian Rucker, John Watson, the Big D Wrecking Crew. It was good times. A shout out to Matt and John for donating some exceptionally nice gaming stuffs for our donation box. So you, Long-Con faithful, can look forward to winning some really neat stuff. And be sure when you see Matt at the con, go aggravate him a little bit, but then maybe say, hey, thanks, but definitely aggravate him.
That is the priority.
Yeah, exactly. He loves that. But no, I mean, there's so many other people I could mention, and so many, I bought product from Ben's. Ben's always got cool stuff at his. We're so blessed that Ben and David come
New
to
Comet?
our con. Yeah, New Comet, because they both have such interesting stuff, but each one is unique. And I got a really cool, and I've never been a guy for dice towers, but a beautiful dice tower. It's a picture on Facebook of it.
Oh, was that from Ben Burns?
Ben Burns. And then I also, you saw it, but it was this round plastic template that's got like the.
Oh, I own that.
Oh, okay. 10,
I got it
20.
from Splat Gaming.
Oh.
When they were unfortunately doing their going out of business sale. But yeah, I saw the picture and I was like, aha, he got one of those too.
No, because the thing's phenomenal.
I love it. Yep.
And Ben said he can't keep those. Oh, and I finally broke down and got one bag of those rings, which I didn't put in the picture. Where are those? I'll have to find them. But, the rings that look for the conditions.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, oh, don't you want the box? It's got 5 of each. And I'm like, I think one of each will be fine. But it wasn't a bad price on the 5 of each. And there's a nice box that holds them that's quite decorative. But like I said, I got some neat stuff from Ben. I bought some 5e paraphernalia from Bill Barsh's booth, and there's a lot of great content there for old school, new school. I mean, I could go on. I bought some stuff from Black Blade. They've always got a neat mix, and I just love John Hirschberger and his buddy.
Black Blade.
Black Blade, Alan Groh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they're cool guys. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I could go on and on about that, but yeah.
Yeah, I got to talk to them about the Osric thing because they're the guys that do that too.
Yeah, they do Osric.
And
cool.
I said, if there's a hot spot in Longview where you see, like, why are we selling so many books there? That's because of us and because of the Long Con, but we're having a good time doing that.
Yeah, if we like something, we will shout it from the rooftops and try to bang that drum and get people to, hey, look at this, go buy it. I mean, like I said, not to stroke ourselves too much, but, no one had ever heard of Dungeon Crawl Classics in the greater Shreveport, Longview, Tyler area, and then we went road crewing, and boom, it blew up, and
yeah, but there's got to be a kind of the Johnny Appleseed everywhere you go.
Yeah.
The one guy gets into the game, and then you go, why did that game take off here? Because that one person that actually runs games,
passionate about it.
Exactly.
And so we love Osric, and we love Barbarians of the Ruined Earth. And it's cool. I know that with us running it and letting people know it's a Black Hack derivative. I saw some people that have been playing in our games at David's booth buying up Black Hack stuff. So I was laughing about that.
Well, it's because Barbarians is also so hard to get.
Yeah, it is. And it's, poor Mike Evans, he makes some incredible product like Hubris and Barbarians, but being a single guy, he just can't get that good price point to be able to,
So I've thought about making a bulk purchase of a bunch of the Barbarians books, and then maybe we have to make no profit off of it or something, but it'll get them out there.
Yeah. Here's a crazy idea. What if
That's
found,
crazy.
If there were a number of retail or individuals that we go in with them to kind of like do a Walmart thing, like if it's a big enough sale, we might could get a little better price point. I don't know.
I will check, but I am doubtful because even when he was talking about selling to a realtor or a retail, should I say?
Yeah.
Talking about selling to a game store, it was like it wouldn't be much of a price break anyway because he wouldn't make anything off of it.
But I mean, even then, one game store might only want 10 copies. But if we found 3 game stores wanting each one 10, and we wanted 10 apiece, maybe if we're buying, then it's 50. He might give a little better price point. But I don't know. I'm just spitballing. But yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of games that we're enjoying running and playing and whatnot and promoting, even though we get other than just the joy of it, the gaming. We don't get a kickback or a taste. Like, we're not promoting DCC or Barbarians or whatever because we get We don't work for the company.
Not yet,
don't
but
get
we
any
would be
stroke.
happy to shield for anything.
Absolutely. Well, I'm always hoping that somebody's going to be like, "Hey, you want to go to Gary Con? I'll put you up in a room if you'll run games for or my
Yeah, I
company."
hear you. Well, I have been talking to the Longview Computer Center, the place to get your computer centralized,
Yep.
and I think they will probably be sponsoring us going on a tour of conventions in the, what do you call it, continental United States.
That's brilliant and awesome. How thoughtful of them.
So if you're on your treadmill right now and you've had a heart attack, the number you want to dial is 911. Hang in there. Get well soon, Cody.
And don't forget to hydrate.
Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate.
Exactly. You got to hydrate.
All right. Well, I didn't get that much time to go see the vendors. I felt like I was on the run the whole con.
You were. The people were stalking you.
That is true, too.
Paid assassins I paid for.
Well, they all failed miserably, apparently, so I hope you didn't pay in advance.
I did not pay top dollar.
Good. Budget assassins.
That's right.
That's always what you want.
Discount assassinry.
But for the vendors, I did get to chit-chat with the Black Blade guys and Chris Clark, which I got to make time for him. He's a good guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our good friends TJ and Leela over at the Game Night Games.
Yeah, and I talked quite a bit with them.
And then your buddy Drew.
Which he likes to be called Fergie.
That's why you call him Drew, apparently.
Because I'm a wild man.
And Joff in the kilt.
Right. Yeah, the Scotsman.
At Durthan's.
Yes, indeed.
And he sold out of dice bags.
Which
That's one thing I'll brag about him here.
I told him, I said it for years, that if you'll come to NTRPG, people see those amazing bags, they're going to want to grab your bag.
And they did.
They
and
grabbed
squeezed.
And squeezed. And I
They're
said,
holding them tightly.
I said, show me your fuzzy sack. And he's got the one dice bag that's all furry. And they loved his fuzzy sack. So.
And luckily he didn't cosplay. So.
Yeah, you thank God. We begged him not to. So he did a little bit, just a skosh. Anyway, haha.
And of course I had to go by and at least say hi to Ben Burns and David.
Oh yeah.
At Eton.
Which Ben was hopping. It seemed like I could hardly catch him just to say hi because he was running. But
and Jason Braun.
Yeah, it was
cool.
Have
a good time with him.
We got a chance to talk to Jason. That's right. He's a cool guy.
Which we'll get to that, but a good time was had at the special guest luncheon with him.
Yeah.
Having a lot of laughs.
Oh, yeah. We laughed our butt off.
This is right after the con, so all our thoughts are still scattered about.
I'm really tired, I'll be honest. And because I'm getting to be
can't
too
tell,
old
can you?
For that
listeners?
1 and 2 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, that'll catch up with you. Yeah. But anyway.
You got anything else up front before we go into the day-by-day breakdown?
I mean, I guess there's so many cool people that we got to chat with, hang with, talk with. That's why we could hardly ever be at our own table to promote LongCon, but luckily, thank goodness for Ron Radescu was there.
He kicked us off of our table so that he could set up some paint stations for people.
He's so nice that he gave his own time and money and energy for other people to enjoy the pleasure of painting.
But what about the real heroes here?
Well, us, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, duh.
We gave up our table space so that he could. Heroes, man.
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah. Oh, amen. I mean, if I find paint on one of our banners, it's on,
All right, so let's tell them about what we did on Wednesday, the first day, the pre-con Get It On.
Right on.
The con officially starts on Thursday, but we are unofficial type of guys.
Right on. We didn't have any games scheduled to run Wednesday. We got there a little early hoping to help out if needed.
We were requested by name.
Oh, absolutely.
They said, who can really lift things and do mindless tasks that they don't have to think about? Matt and Eddie.
That's right. But yeah, no, we were glad to do that. And,
we really didn't have to do much at all. There was a lot of volunteers and staff and stuff like that.
Yeah, like John Lyles, it sounded like he'd got there early and really jumped in there and helped. And you got Gary and Brian, all that bunch. So, no, they knocked that out of the park. And so we got to just kind of hang out and say hey or whatever. But, we helped set up a little bit. That's how there's a picture of us leaned on this year's.
Yeah, that's how we got the very first picture with it.
Right on. You see what we did there.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. But that evening, we hung out, had drinks, and got to chit-chat a little bit.
Yeah, it was a hangout day.
Yeah.
All right, you ready to go to Thursday?
Let's do it.
Thirsty Thursday?
Thirsty Thursday.
All right.
On.
What'd you do on Thursday?
Thursday, I ran the Mall, which is Reed Sanfilippo's American Wastelands, which uses the DCC system as the engine, and I got a really good reaction. I had a lot of fun. They had a lot of fun.
That one's always a hit.
Oh yeah, that's why I ran it. It's been a few years. I had to kind of reread it, but back when, I had that one down pat because I ran it so much. But it's a fun one to run. I love the American Wastelands. Good work read, and players I get a good reaction from players with that.
Yeah, and as I say, that one has the good GM and system synergy.
Yeah.
Of the different modules to run and the people to run them. Yeah, you would be a number one candidate.
Well, thank you. I mean, and I joke, but it's like there's no food in that one, so haha.
You have to add it in. You have to add it yourself.
You have to add in the food references, But anyway, and you ran.
I ran there's this little known writer who writes these really brilliant modules, but not many people know about him. Some Matt Gullitz, something like that. I don't know. I heard he does this really dumb podcast too.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
But he wrote his Mansion of Madness, which turned into the Palace of Pandemonium, which has turned into the
Manor of Madness,
which we're going to change again. We're going to workshop that a little bit more.
Yeah, we need to find that sweet spot. But apparently there's like a board game and another module and an amusement park. I mean, there's like all this stuff called Mansion of Madness. So we have to have something that's a rather large, ostentatious building that has
Teagle Manor.
Teagle Manor. I like it. We'll call it Teagle Manor. That's got a ring to it.
You should use that.
Did you just come up with that?
But you have to get away from the alliteration. That's cheap rookie crap.
Right.
Like the Lois Lane, Clark Kent, blah, blah, blah. No, don't do that. Skip that. You've got more class. You got more talent than that.
Well, I know.
But it was well received. Who did you have in your game? Any notables anybody that we might know?
Not anybody from the hobby per se, but I mean, I had some.
Anybody from the Long Con crew? Faithful, yeah.
Sure. I can't run a game without the Lilies in it. But I kid though. I love the Lilies. They are the sweetest, best people, good folks, fun to game with. Jason and his offspring, Gus and Dominic. I was hoping to see
Karen,
the matriarch. I was hammering it, but no, because turned out she's a lot of fun, and you see where the kids get it. But no, they were in the game and they had a lot of fun. I think I had a lot of fun, but I had Montana Cold Squires, a gentleman named Jay, another fellow named Steve, and then I had Moses Jacobo, and I think his friend Mark was in that one too. I know he was in my tournament game, but anyway, or maybe Mark wasn't in that one. But no, he wasn't. He was in Bill Barsh. But yeah,
I'm not even going to try and name people on my tables.
No, I know. I mean, I'm astonished I could do that much. If I forgot anybody, I apologize. But I'm still, like I said, a little sleep deprived. But yeah, I had a really good time. I got good energy and feedback. The fella Jay, he came up to me at the con at least 3 or 4 times over the weekend, going, "Oh man, pig to peach," and I'm like, "Thanks, man," But anyway.
So the Mansion of Madness, the Palace of Pandemonium, the Manse of Madness, that was very well received. People enjoyed it. And that's another thing. Besides changing all the names, it's changed all the different systems.
The Domain of Dementia. Anyway, that's the worst.
Write in, folks, and tell them how horrible that one was.
Please do. Sound off, or I might just do that.
And if you've got any fantastic names for that module,
yeah, we might
put them in there.
We might have a T-shirt or something if somebody was to do that.
Wow, that would be awesome.
That would be. Wow.
So I was saying something, but I don't remember now. That's just how tired we are from NTRPG.
My Brilliance.
I don't remember any of that.
I know, me either.
Okay, so there was this module. I ran it. It was well received. It is in 5th edition.
Currently.
But I guess not. It's available in 5e, but it's also been written in DCC or converted over, and also to Barbarians or Black Hack.
It was originally written for Castles and Crusades when you played it the very first time.
I didn't play that.
I have converted it since to 5th edition DCC, and I recently converted it into Black Hack.
Okay.
And I ran Black Hack at Long Con in spring, and Jason and the gang, I'm guessing they liked it because they went out and bought Black Hack based off our play session.
But it's got a very old school feel to it, whatever system you're playing it in.
Yeah.
And it's more of the go slow, take your time, be careful, which is probably in my wheelhouse of stuff to run. I'm definitely that guy.
Why you're like, oh, I want to run this because it speaks to you. But if you're one of those like, I want to run from room to room, kicking indoors, it might not be your cup of tea.
You might not live that long.
Yeah, which warms my heart.
But so I'm trying to think. I don't think I got to murder anybody in that one, sadly, and not even any of the characters died. So
you're slipping up, friend.
I think so. So I might have
I'm concerned.
Might have to rate that one a little bit lower in quality.
Wow. Oh my!
For writing,
the
GMing was excellent. If I could say, I had a lot of fantastic compliments. People carried me around the con on their shoulders.
I remember seeing that.
It was a little embarrassing.
Did I see you holding a bottle of champagne and like a wreath of roses or something?
Yeah, it was a little embarrassing, but I powered through it because that's what the people wanted.
Duh.
Who am I to deny them?
I hear you.
So definitely check that one out, and that's part of our secret projects file.
Secret projects.
So hopefully you'll get to see some of these fine products soon, but highly recommended. Everyone enjoyed it. No one's ever said a bad thing about anything we've ever done.
Never. At least not to our faces.
I don't think we played anything on Thursday. Does that sound right?
We did not. The only time we were set to play something was on Friday and Saturday. We played Friday morning, and we played Saturday midday. Well, and when was the celebrity game?
That's what I was just about to say. Was that Thursday? That must have been Thursday, right?
Was that's Thursday after the celebrity dinner.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry, celebrity, not celebrity, special guest. That sounds kind of pretentious. To say.
We were special guests, though.
We were special guests,
and we are celebrities.
Well, we are, but I'm trying not to be bougie or whatever, as the kids would say.
We're very self-depreciating on all these podcasts, so this should be the one that we're very self-appreciating.
Oh, my.
This is a very congratulatory tone today.
Yeah. We're taking a victory lap anyway, yeah.
Well, I guess since we are talking about Thursday, we have to talk about our delicious special guest lunch.
That was very thoughtful and delicious.
Where we sat with Jason and Bad Mike and Ben Burns and Jeffrey
Talananian, pronunciation. I hope I'm not.
That's the Astonishing Swordsmen and Sorcerers.
Yeah, Astonishing Sorcerers and Swordmen of Hyperborea. Ash, as some people will shorthand it. But and I've always been intrigued by that game, and that's why I go to cons to play new stuff. I've never, it hasn't clicked. The stars haven't.
He had some really great stories because he had worked with Gary Gygax on projects.
Really, a lot of people have name dropped Gary Gygax that they rode in an elevator with him once in the 70s. This guy actually worked them extensively near at the end, and so I mean, he's that guy. He's not name dropping. He really did work with him quite a bit, and he seems like a really neat guy. We had a lot of fun at that table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where we get to hear some inside scoop. And at the con is also where we get to tell you can't put it on the podcast stories, just of our stories too.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to tell you, I put it this way. Things were just getting to get juicy and interesting. And about that time, it was like, all right, pack it in. I was like, no, because we were really kind of like, we're in the inner circle now. We're hearing those stories that not just anybody gets to hear, And it was heartbreaking that we were getting the dirt, And then, all right, pack it in, everybody. I'm like, man.
Yeah, and then we got to play in Doug's son's game, his David.
Yeah, it's normally Doug's special guest game, and we were just so flattered and honored to be involved in that. We got to play with Alan Hammock and a number of other people. Chris Clark, of course, who we never had a chance to game alongside, so that was a real treat.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a lot of fun. And there were other people, but we had a couple people that paid to be in the game.
Yeah, suckers.
Yeah, God bless them. And but anyway, and that was.
It was for
fun.
a good cause. The cash went to a good cause.
So David had to fill in for his dad because God bless Doug. He's in the hospital and doing better, and I'm so happy. David did a great job. I've never had the pleasure of gaming with David, but old Jiggly Bits has always raved about David's gamesmanship, and I see why. It was fun. He kept it interesting.
Yep. We had to think outside the box. That was that one.
Yeah, think outside the box. So that was, that would have been.
I think that now covers Thursday.
Yeah, because then we run our games that evening.
Yep.
Yep. All right.
Which we have a secret strategy for that we probably shouldn't give out, but it's Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And then we're free to party down on Saturday.
And I could even maybe see maybe Saturday midday, but
yep.
Yeah.
I agree.
We're still refining it, but still.
To the perfect schedule.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right, so Friday we must have done something.
Friday morning we play with Bill Barsh. We did his.
And we got barshed.
Yes, we did. But that's what you go. If you're going to go play with Bill, you want to get barshed, you know.
Should we give him the secret information? Or
Don't
should we keep it to ourselves?
Ever play a thief.
That is correct.
I don't think he'll ever own that, but I don't think Bill likes thieves.
You're not getting a backstab off.
I think when he was a kid, somebody stole like his lunch money. He's like, I hate thieves. I don't know.
Or they backstabbed him.
Yeah, somebody probably did backstab him, but anyway, and he probably put the kung fu grip on him. Turns out I found this weekend he's an ex-Army Ranger. He's a badass.
Yeah, and you've been smarting off to him this whole time.
I know,
he could have just choked you out.
He just put the death grip choke on me, but luckily he's that benevolent, you know. No, we like Bill. Bill, when we got there, he came across the con and was like, guys, you know, I mean, we love Bill. And his son, Ben, I've not had much chance to interact with him, but I've heard good things, and I've had, you know, passing whatever, he seems cool. You know?
Yeah, a couple of years back when we had the, I want to say the Wisconsin guys, but I think it was the Michigan guys. Or Minnesota.
Yeah.
They could not rave up his games enough.
No.
Could not say enough good things about his games.
And Jiggly has just sung his praises. So anyway.
He sings a lot of praises, though, apparently.
Not necessarily. He gives us a lot of crap.
He sings our praises behind our back.
I would hope so, because to our face, he keeps us humble. Anyway, I kid, but yeah. So we got to play with Bill, and we really enjoyed what he ran.
Yeah,
it was kill monsters and take their loot, essentially. And did you get the email that showed where you placed?
Yeah, which was incorrect, but
oh my, because I thought you were soundly in the bottom on that list, but I thought you did better than that.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I was only off by a factor of 10.
Oh, okay. Oops.
There was a 0 missing on my score.
Oops. Yeah,
but I wasn't in the top 3, and I wasn't in the bottom 3. So who cares?
Yeah, I mean, I was firmly in the middle, and I'm content with that. And I'm trying to think of how in the heck did Milton get like 864 or something. I'm like, good night. I wonder if Little Gentleman Jack was involved. You know, but anyway, but like, hey, money talks. You know, I kid.
But that was a lot of fun. That was very Diablo-esque. You just are going through the dungeon, and look, there's a monster. Kill it, collect the cash, and keep going.
And I was thinking, like, can we attack each other? Which was asked. And then, at the end, I was like, it's going to end that way. And it did. Which
is funny because there was 3 players left at the end, one of them being me as the little old wizard. So when they were like, it's PvP time, I was like, oh my.
So we're going to eat a couple magic missiles if they don't watch it.
Well, they were going to, but I was like, please don't come this way. I have 3 hit points.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I didn't want to square off with anybody. But, yeah, I was way back at the end of a corridor where I could see if anybody was coming, and they would have ate some magic missiles before they got to me.
Yeah, right. But that was a lot of fun. And
the one thing that was interesting about that, too, was towards the end, somebody was like, well, I'll just take a knee and run out the clock. I'm like, well, I'm still on the board, so I'm going to press my luck. I have nothing to lose. If I turn around and get killed in the next room, that's fine. I still keep my treasure. But if I had hit the jackpot, I'd have been in there.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was me. When my character finally died, other people went back in for more characters, but when you do, you take a cash penalty. And so I said, well, if I die early, maybe. Like, you died kind of early on with your character, so I was like, you were looking back, should I go back? And I said, yeah, go back for another one. And you built back up, as you can see. But like me, I'd gotten pretty far before I died, and I'm like, nope, I'm staying out because I don't want to take that penalty.
Yeah, and I would have been pretty high up if I hadn't had to dig out of the pit.
Yeah. And it was, it is what it is. But it was a fun game, and I liked the format. I liked what he did. And there wasn't any kind of role playing, but you're not going to get that in a lot of games at a con. In that time spot, you don't get that sort of play. But so if you're going to have just sort of a corridors and doors or whatever, find some way to make it interesting or spicy, and Bill did that, which is brilliant.
We fought the monster manual.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the cool thing was I liked that it's kind of like an old buddy of mine. I'd be like, hey, man, teach me how to play so-and-so card game. He's like, well, we're paying for money, even if it's like nickels and dimes. I'm like, why? And he goes, it's not worth my time. It's not interesting if I'm not he has that competitive streak. Like you got to make it interesting for me. That's like I remember watching a football game with the guy. He's like, "This is boring. But how about you pick a team? I bet you $5 they lose." And suddenly he's engaged. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I liked that it was a competition. It was a friendly competition, but it was competitive. Anyway.
So yeah, a good time, and we're already talking about how we're going to rip it off and do it at the Long Con. That's how much fun we had.
Exactly. We absolutely want to just steal with both hands, and we told him we're going to do that. So it's not like we're devious. Well, we are.
And he told us where he stole the idea from. So
exactly.
There you go. And we have his permission to knock it off and do our own version and however we would like.
Which is an interesting bit of lore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I love stuff like that. The history of.
Which it was some like, oh yeah, there was a competitive game like this in the 70s that I used to play.
And he was like a kid then, like so many of us. And he would help the guy at some con in Michigan set it up each year or whatever. And so that's where he remembered back like, oh, hey, probably a pleasant little bit of.
And the good thing with that one is it's got to be the easiest thing to run.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he pretty much it ran itself kind of, which was great. He was like, I'm not getting out of my chair. You move your own miniatures, And once we had, he said, you guys will see it goes fast. Not that it was slow in the beginning, but once we were learning and queuing up for our turn, you were just, when the one guy standing up to move his miniature, you're already kind of getting out of your chair to come over. And because about that time he's like, I do this, and I sit back down or whatever.
Yeah. It was where I said, it's like, what's the fine line between a board game and an RPG?
Yeah.
So it was right on it. I almost can't think how it could have been any less RPG and more board game, just because those lines have been so blurred right now.
Well, like we were talking about, you could have busted out Hero Quest and kind of
done the same thing,
done something very similar, which is not a bad idea. Hero Quest is neat.
And then as we'll get to, Torg had so many pieces. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, isn't this in a way now a board game? But we'll get there.
We'll get there.
What did you run on Friday?
Friday night is when I did traditionally at Archon and at NTRPG for some years now. My tradition is I run a tournament funnel in DCC, MCC, whatever on Friday night.
Yeah. So unfortunately, no one won.
Yeah. I ran Apotheosis, which is one I had done some years ago.
Oh, you didn't run one of mine?
No. Do you have any funnels for DCC or MCC?
Yeah.
That are in a tournament format?
Yeah. But go ahead.
Well,
what you were thinking was...
That's funny. That's Gary Oliver trying to call. But anyway, I'll talk to you in a minute, Gary. But anyway, we were talking about the Apotheosis. Had a fun time. I had Levi Combs in that. I had Skeeter Green. I had the Lilies. I had Moses and his friend Mark. This is where Mark was in that game. I had a fellow named Joe. I had Paul, who is probably going to be our new friend.
Definitely.
Yeah. Like I said, a fellow named Joe, and maybe, was it Sam? But anyway, yeah. Great table of people. They had a lot of fun. I've always wanted to do a real, true DCC funnel tourney. And you know what I mean by that? You don't.
I have no idea.
Yeah. So historically, at a big con, everybody wants to play with Brendan LaSalle or whoever. And so, or they want to be in his game. Well, so you don't want to turn anybody away, but you don't want that table that's 10 and 12 and 30 players. Well, like I've always allowed 8 in a funnel because funnels doesn't have a lot of rules. Your characters don't.
Oh, are you going to say the one that you can actually rotate people in and out?
Exactly. So I had enough people asking, can I get in? Can I get in? I said, come to the game. And if I see enough people, extras, I asked the table, I said, does anybody mind? Please speak up. I'll shut this down. You paid for your spot. If you're going to hate the idea that you get ejected from your seat for a second, we will not do this. Everybody was like, yeah, I'm good with it. In the past, I've put that in the description, but it never happened. I didn't put it in the description, so I felt like...
See, I'll go the other way, and I kind of secretly like it when one person doesn't show up, just so you can, instead of having 6, you get 5, because that's just a little bit sweeter for your normal, average, non-funnel, non-tourney, blah, 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 blah.
I'll tell you, a typical home game, I want 4 to 6 players. And you hate to turn anybody away, but you allow that 7th, you diminish everyone's fun. Was it worth letting one more in who gets to have some fun? Everybody else doesn't have near... Anyway, yeah, I think we've had discussion. But needless to say, a funnel is so easy and quick turnover, and it's just the way I build them. I don't mind 8 players. So I had about 3 other people that were spectating. So the people were rotating in as, like if you died, you'd step out and someone would get in. So I told everybody, like, kind of keep your dice maybe handy or in your tray, because you'd kind of be standing there and they don't reach in and grab their next zero. So everybody had a great time. In fact, a lot of people said they liked that whole in and out or whatever. But yeah, our big winners was Skeeter Green took first place.
Never heard of him.
Yeah. And then Moses was second, I believe, and his friend Mark was third. And so it's funny, two of the winners were actually the people that were like spectators or whatever.
Oh, cool.
But everybody won because we all had a really great time.
Everybody won because they got to play with you, Matt.
Oh, whatever. But it really was neat that at the end of it, the Lilies were like, is this published? And I'm like, no, this is something I wrote. And they're like, you should put it out there. And I'm like, meh. And they were like, come on. And then when I posted it on NTRPG, our old buddy David Beatty was like, hey, what did you run? I was like, I ran, my thing or whatever. So, I mean, I think he was like, hey, I'm curious, what funnel did you use? And I'm like, he's thinking one of the published ones. But anyway, we had a great time.
Soon to be published, maybe.
I'd love that.
The secret files, the secret projects of the No Class RPG podcast.
Yeah. And in that slot, you were in the same room, way over in the corner, running.
Wonderfully, yes, wonderfully. I was far, far away from Matt, so that
you saying my voice carries,
so that people could hear me and get into the enjoyment of their game.
Not be distracted by all the wildness at my table, the howling,
all the just cacophony of noise and sound.
We were howling at my table.
The weeping, and one of my guys howled back, if you remember.
I know, I love that. I was like, yeah. I wanted to throw him a luck token. He wasn't even in my game.
You should have, because we were doing fleeting luck.
Well, I used fleeting luck in Maw and in Apotheosis. And people, when I say, I'm using fleeting luck, you get like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's cheating.
They love fleeting luck.
That's almost like performance-enhancing drugs for GMs.
Right.
There's fleeting luck. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was interested before, but now I'm excited, yeah.
So we had some wonderful fleeting luck in Carnage in the Casino. Some brilliant alliteration.
Who wrote that?
Yours truly.
What?
The most talked about module on this podcast.
Well, if it's that talked about, seems like why
it's got a lot of word of mouth or whatever. It's got a lot of good buzz, but it's all from me.
Wasn't even Lou like, hey, let me help you,
Yeah.
refine that.
So
because it needs refinement, I'm sure. But
no, everybody was like, you should publish this immediately, and I'm serious. And they were like, I had some people say, talk to Reed Sanfilippo because this one's so America, that was a real feather in my cap. I was highly honored by that comment because that's what I was shooting for, that it would fit into that type of world without the food.
Yeah.
But it actually does have food. It's just not food puns.
Yeah. But I'm just saying,
punishment.
But pretty much if there's not like a cake or a cucumber trying to kill you, it's not America.
Yeah, I have friendly food.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I told you. At least you got the whole food. You at least one food involved trap mechanism or something. You probably squeeze by,
But I had Montana in my game too, and Luau, and a couple of guys that had played it before, which always blows my mind. Because I know you've got a certain lockdown on some people that will play yours over and over.
I've got my
Lilies. But when somebody will come back for another round of this exact same game,
that's flattering.
That always blows my mind. Like I'd have people come back to Death House again, and I'm like, why?
You've played this twice already.
And then these guys came back and played it again, and I'm like, well, thanks. And they had a good time. And one of the guys apparently is a artist that does a bunch of 3D stuff and builds 3D models.
Oh, wow.
So he's like, I would like to help you do the cover for this module.
5 laughter bot.
So I was like, oh my, that's just
cool.
Incredible. So
no, you should be very flattered.
Very high praise.
Yeah.
But for, I don't know, for all you amateur GMs out there, I thought this one was going to end up taking about an hour. I'm sitting over there sweating it. So I was sweating it a bit. I was like, oh my God, this is scheduled for 4 hours and it's going to end up taking maybe an hour. And then we finally hit the part where it slows down a little bit as the combats start coming in and making it take a little bit longer. But we had a really good time with that. They did not get anywhere near as in depth because the last time I ran it at NTRPG, it took 6 hours.
Wow.
And people were just hanging on it. They were like, no, tell us the next part and let's keep going. If there's any, like, well, we didn't get into that one back broom closet. We really want to get in there. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But this one was really well received too. So, I mean, It's been hit or miss. It's got to find its crew.
And you did some work on this coming in this year. Like you took the previous product and refined it a little bit.
It keeps getting polished and polished and polished. And really, if you knew how little of it was written at points, you'd be like, what is wrong with you?
No, I'd be thinking that's, me, a lot of times I work from bullet
but
points.
yeah, some of
it's
it's
not like you. You want to write a novel, and I work from bullet points.
If I'm writing the module, then yeah, it gets more wordy, like, okay, wrap up that description a little bit.
Yeah.
But there were places where it's like, this is a jewelry store. So it actually has a real honest to God description now. Awesome. And I think I put in a few laughs in there because I want it to be sort of lighthearted. Yeah. So I definitely think, well, I guess it's easy to say that it's improving. It just keeps getting better and better. So it's taken a long time to get anywhere, but at least it's improving as it's sitting on the shelf.
Just keep that gems more lustrous. Talking about the lilies, which I love, and apotheosis, the next day they came up to me and they said, hey, just consider this. And what they suggested, I thought about it more, and I'm like, that's brilliant. And I took that kernel and I thought about it more, and I found a way to really even to improve apotheosis. One part of it that's kind of like, it's good, but this, I was like, wow, that's great now. So, hey, thanks again, Jason and the boys. I'm going to incorporate some of the stuff y'all talked about. That's brilliant. That's good stuff. Thank you. Keep it coming.
Well, there was one in, to go back to the mansion, where they find the old doll.
Oh, yeah. And you did some wild stuff with the doll.
And they got interested in the doll and actually came back to it. And I pretty much had made a off the cuff D6 table of what that doll looks like to you, that the appearance changes, because you'd written in a real good description of it. Oh, yeah. And I was like, it'd be even more interesting if it looked different for other people. Yeah. Like the doll looks at you like you're dirty scum, but then to other people, it looks like a normal doll, or it inspires them and stuff like that. And it's like, what's wrong with your character? And it did make you, even for a con game, think about what your backstory might be with that character. What was his deep, dark secret that this doll knows?
This doll peers into your soul. Well, that's like in
the shadow knows.
There's the one hill that I always describe that there's a face on the side of it, and as the party gets closer, I say the face looks like one random player or whatever. And it's funny, it was Mark who ended up taking third place or whatever, and he looked like, what? And everybody's like, so I love little touches like that. It adds that gonzo weird kind of, which I like that. Yeah.
But so we both had some fine, wonderful games so far up to this point.
Players,
had a lot of fun.
A lot of high energy, good reaction, yeah.
Which, other than talking about all the drinking and drunken discussions we had, I guess we'll move on to Saturday morning.
Yeah, I just put out there pretty much every evening the day ended with us with
beverages, libations.
I was going to say libations and debauchery. No, not debauchery, but just a bunch of old grognards talking about games and gaming in general. While
we have a very sad definition of debauchery, if that was it.
Yeah, taking in copious amounts of
you were going to say
beverages,
potato
water, and hops and barley.
Our games they slapped.
Yeah. Is that
for
what
the kids out there?
Now?
They slapped.
They slapped our games.
They were slapping.
All right, Slappy Jenkins.
All right, who did you slap on Saturday?
On Saturday, we ran in the morning time, and it was Barbarians of the Ruined Earth. And Papa John apparently has been listening to us and was like, man, you guys make that sound like the stuff. He finally got to play.
Luckily, it lived up to the hype.
Yeah, because he is a tough customer. But but I mean, I think he would agree with that. But no, it ended up apparently he was pleasantly pleased. It lived up to the hype. And of course, I had the lilies, and they had fun. And I was so tickled. I got to game with Matt and Ian, and they were a lot of fun as usual there. But it's funny, those guys can be kind of over the top sometimes, and in some games that won't work. But in Barbarians, it was a perfect fit. I basically was like, hey, you guys, y'all's normal shtick. Pull out the stops, take the lid off, take a big snort. Yeah, go crazy here, because it's Saturday morning cartoons. And so at one point, like, Matt's playing an urchin, and he jumps into a vehicle, and somehow with Gus's Tigeroid Beastman, like they throw the people out, like kick them out and throw them out of the doors or whatever, and they take their place. And the hellbillies in the back of the vehicle are freaking out, and they're driving erratically and doing Tokyo drift trying to fling them out, which they did. And then so Matt's like, I want to do a thing where I spin around the other vehicle and I do a 360 or 180 and I end up in front of them bumper to bumper. And I'm like, all right, sure, why not? I mean, other games I'd go, no. But in that, I'm like, all right, let's see like a dex test. And so he got to do this high flying, freewheeling, crazy, cinematic, Fast and Furious, Tokyo Drift kind of. Yeah. So anyway, they had fun with it. I did too.
And then on the other table, there was the opposite. There was Death and Doom and Cautious Play.
Because
that is Lamentations of the Flame Princess,
Old
Tower
school.
of the Stargazer.
Old
Which,
school.
as I said, Lamentations was the first OSR that really brought the weird before we had discovered DCC.
Mm-hmm.
And old Raggy's kind of gone out there now, and I still want my damn, reference book that was from Indiegogo. So shame on you, sir.
Yeah.
But I will say there was some really good stuff at the beginning before it just went way out to the shock factor.
You're telling me to take it down? I'm going to take it even further.
Yeah.
This is magical. That's magical.
Yeah. So that's one of those games, kind of have a love-hate relationship, kind of like me and Matt. But I always have fun running those few mods that I kind of like. I have 2 or 3 that I'm going to hit in a rotation, and I always have a good time running those. And I always end up talking to people the longest after I run a Lamentations mod. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. People want to have more of a conversation about that. They want to talk about Lamentations in general. They want to go, hey, have you ever read this module or that module or this crazy thing or that crazy thing? Or I like how you ran this and you kept the mood like it should be. So, yeah, that's a real careful game. Again, I played with Paul on that one. Kent was the one that I talked to the most. So it creates a lot of discussion when we're playing Lamentations. That's one that we have a good time with. And that's another one where you have to have the right mindset. Going into a con, you got to find the people that want to play chess instead of checkers.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
And I almost think in my descriptions, I should just put on all my modules or something, unless it's a barbarians that's like careful, thoughtful, old school type feel. So people know up front what they're getting.
Yeah, because you said that there were some people that probably still could appreciate your gamesmanship and the adventure, but seeing it's 5th edition, they had it in their head.
Right.
This was this, and not to disparage 5th edition, but it seems like there's a certain play style that's engendered now with 5th edition where it's like, okay, maybe I should make generalizations, but still people want to run and kick in the door and scream and holler.
But go to this. If you were doing barbarians and you were doing Temple of Elemental Evil or something, or what's the other really famous one for just killing people? Tomb of Horrors or something. And you're like, hey, it's Tomb of Horrors, but it's barbarians. People are going to be like, wee, barbarians, and they'll be dead in 5 minutes.
Sure, absolutely.
So, I mean, I guess the game system does set the expectation some.
Maybe, yeah.
For good or bad. So I won't besmirch 5th edition as just that.
No, because I try not to make generalizations. But what I would say is ultimately you've got the right idea that in the description say this is a game that will reward thoughtful players. Might be that this game this adventure demands a more methodical approach.
And when I want people to just kick in the door, then I'll go, this is barbarians and woo.
Yeah.
So good times was had by Lamentations. I made a few more believers. I told them to make sure not to buy any of his products.
Yeah, he is the devil.
He's bad, man. Where's my book?
Yeah, I thought it was books. I thought it was like one of everything or something you kickstarted.
No, it was the referee book that was supposed to come out. I think he gave himself like a 10-year deadline or something crazy.
10-year deadline.
And then he missed it. And there's no book in the in the coming future. There's no promise of a book, and there's definitely a promise of no refund.
What a shitbird.
That's how I feel about it. But hey, let's talk about something fun.
Yeah.
What did we do after this game? We went off to another game and had a great time with our buddy John Watson.
Yes, indeed.
Who is a celebrity.
Absolutely.
Especially in the world of Torg Eternity.
Torg Eternity. Yep, he has written a lot of content for them.
I'm trying to remember what that adventure... Oh, Race for the Scarab.
Race for the Scarab. We played with him. It was fun. And like you said, there's getting to be sort of more of a thin line between RPGs and board games, in that there was different decks and there's tokens and a lot of moving parts. But it's interesting. They broke down what would be, okay, it's not combat. You've got to get out of the trap, this death trap or something. Well, it's procedural. So it's like you got to accomplish part A and part C and part D, and certain people will be called upon for certain skill checks or whatever, and to accomplish it without TPK. I think we were the first group that he's ever like, I've never seen this, but I think you guys are about to TPK on the skill challenge or whatever.
Yeah. But luckily, if you want to play it, you'll probably get a chance at the Long Con this year.
The Long Con. Watson is going to be one of our guests. Definitely a good friend of the con. He's been there since he came to the very first one. He came all the way from Dallas.
Just a good guy all around. I can't say enough nice things about him.
And he brought Sean Roberson with him the first year, and Sean's a great guy.
Yeah, and that's about the time that we're really getting turned on to Savage Worlds.
Absolutely, yeah. So, but I mean, actually, he brought Sean with him the very first Long Con. Did you know that? They were in my Friday night tournament, the very first DCC Friday night.
I think that's more of like, I knew he was there, but I didn't know who it was.
No, I was going to say, sadly, at that time, I didn't know who he was, but definitely I knew. I played with him. He's a great guy now, and we learned some years ago, Sean Roberson, but they're both super great guys, but John's great, and we appreciate him, and we had fun with the game, and we're glad that he let us get another chance to play. We weren't down to play a lot of games at the con, because we just figured we need to be available at our booth or to, interact with people as special guests or whatever. But no, I had a lot of fun in that game.
Yep. And then after that, we were off to the raffle, and then we were off to the bar, and then we were off to the raffle that you don't talk about.
The Midnight Shim Sham.
Yep.
Yep. It's interesting how it gets to be almost like a carnival atmosphere on late Saturday night at the con, But yeah.
And then I stayed up too late, and then Matt stayed up way too late.
And there's a reason why we don't ever play or run games on Sunday.
Right.
There's no way.
Right.
Especially now, we used to come like on Friday? Then we came on Thursday. Well, now we come on Wednesday. By Sunday, definitely, my noodle is so fried.
But I do feel like on Wednesday, somebody loaded us into a cannon and shot us to Sunday morning, because it just went by that fast.
Yeah, it really does. But flying flies, you're having fun. And I'm telling you, I look forward to this con all year long. It's the highlight, and it's, so thank you to Doug and Mike, Gary, Brian, David, everybody involved that helps out. There are other people.
Chris Fuller, I think, was one of the guys I saw around a lot.
Marshall.
The names that you don't, it's kind of like people didn't know, who's Gary?
Yeah,
and then it's like,
some Weisenheimer's like, who's Gary? And he's like, he's the secret weapon ninja master of.
But it takes a lot of people to keep that running successfully. So thank you to the guys that are even further behind the scenes. Yeah. We remember you, and we're appreciating you.
We appreciate you guys, definitely. But again, another great year, a lot of fun. It's good to see the numbers back. One thing I heard more than anything the whole weekend, it's great to game in person again. Say what you will. I know some people probably might embrace it, love it, think it's the best thing ever, online gaming. But I'm just telling you, for me and a lot of other people, that's the thing, is in-person gaming. It's just,
So if you had to give this con an overall score, the whole weekend, what would you give it?
A solid 9 out of 10.
Oh, I was going to do ABC, but no, I'm just kidding. Now, out of like previous cons, in the pantheon of great NTRPGs, where do you think you rate this one? Just towards the top or the middle of the pack, or?
Number 1.
This was the best one you've ever been to.
NTRPG is the best con. I've been to a lot of cons.
But out of all the NTRPGs you've been to, 2021 is ranked just towards the top, towards the bottom, towards the middle of the pack. Towards the top, you say?
I will say, in lieu of someone trying to pick a fight with me, I was going to say at this con, no. I still, this one's in the top 3.
Fist fight.
This one's, fist fight. Top 5. I'll say in the top 3. Top 3 for sure.
Yeah, I think I can agree with that too. Yeah. Probably you'll never be able to beat the first one that we went to, just because we had an outrageously fantastic time, and we discovered it.
You always remember your first time.
Right on.
Yeah. But it's so great. Last year we were considered special guests, but in the time of the COVID, we felt special. But now, to be asked again to be special guests when it's not so much just like a kind of we're hard up for guests. Come on, guys. no, we're incredibly flattered, and it was.
So we will be expecting that every year from now on, or we will have our hearts broken. So if you're listening to this, ball's in your court.
But yeah, again, we see people that come to our long con that hadn't been to NTRPG, that we've been telling them since day one, you got to go to NTRPG. It is a blast. This is where we cut our teeth and learned a lot of what we do. And so definitely people finally came and availed themselves, like, our buddy Alan McCoy, and Jonathan Thompson, I saw him there, and some other ones that were like, oh man, this is the stuff. And I'm like, we've been telling you.
Yeah, a bunch of our people and a bunch of our vendors were up there because Doug had poached them at Long Con Spring.
And that's like Herbert and what's his name? His buddy.
Which I jokingly say because we stole everything that we could from them.
Yeah, fair steal from us. We stole so much from them, but
that really feels good now, though.
Yeah.
To be like, now we're big enough that we can push some of this stuff their way.
And we're glad to share. I mean, but it's good that some of our people that I've never known them to go to NTRPG went this year to see them there, and people wearing our shirts and hats, and that was kind of cool. But yeah, and we saw, like I said, Tom Wilson is another person that we saw this year. It was good to see Tom, and he's got Thoey Games. He's got a lot of good stuff. But yeah, anyway, just there's so many people that if I forgot somebody, please forgive me. But it was so good to see all of our many friends there, and just good people and fun to game with, and can't say enough good things about NTRPG.
And I'll throw out another one to Luau Lu with his Dare Luck Club.
Yeah, so which I got to hold the book. It was at Ben's table and kind of rifled through, skimmed it. It's a gorgeous book.
I own the book now.
Oh, really?
So,
cool. I can't wait to play it then.
I don't think I got it signed yet, but that's something that Lou will have to hook me up with in the future.
Sign that.
That's just how freaking busy I was.
Yeah. We both were. It was the craziest thing. It didn't seem like we did that much, but we were busy.
Yeah.
Well, a couple of times I'll tell myself I had to go take a nap because I'm up so
That's
late.
important work too.
Well, yeah, absolutely. You got to keep yourself healthy, hydrate, nourish. Enough rest because you don't get the con crud. Don't want the con crud.
All right, and you don't just get con crud; you get podcast crud if they drag on too long.
Yeah.
So you about ready to?
Yeah.
Let's bury this thing.
Let's put an axe in the head of that little 0-level peasant.
So once again, fantastic time, great con. Go check out NTRPG if you haven't yet. But I can tell by the clock on the wall that we're all out of hit points.